Hi everyone, Natasha here, and around my home today I am in the kitchen to share with you my April bullet journal setup, as well as just showing you how I have started the second quarter in this new notebook. So let's jump right in. And here we have the April spread, and as you can see I did use a few of the little decorative stickers from the boho berry box for April. I may go back in and color those in when I feel like doing a little coloring one day, but overall I just kind of stuck them in there as a little embellishment after I was done with the layout, and I think they look cute. So again, I got this whole layout idea from Miss McKenna's Life Leverage here on YouTube, and I enjoy watching her. She has a lot of good ideas, and just her thought processes seem to make sense for me in my life too. So I like separating the weeks with a space, and that way, since our weekends can sometimes be really busy, that gives me one extra line if I need to write more for the Saturday appointments or events. So this is more for, birthdays, things I need to remember, events, stuff going on, that kind of thing. Then I use this calendar. So far I've only used it as a YouTube editorial calendar. She mentioned recently that she uses it for bills and income too, and I may try doing that. I can't decide if I feel like I need to put that in here, or I do have a separate bills binder, and I'm wondering if I just need to have a calendar set up in there where I keep track of things. But I will keep you posted on how that goes. These are my goals for the month of April, and then I took this from Miss McKenna's Life Leverage too, how she has all of these. I think there's one other category that I took out because it didn't really apply to me, but overall I just think this is a neat thing to have, to see just a real quick snapshot of some of the things that were going on that month. So I've enjoyed filling mine out in March, and I think I have about half of them with something written in, so it'll be nice now as the month's closing out to finish the rest of that. Then I go into my personal month information, and I used my super tips, the Crayola super tips, for this color scheme. And so for me, April is a personal month 6, and so my keyword is responsibility. My affirmation is I accept my responsibilities with love and joy. So that's a nice one. And then I have, of course, my boho berry habit tracker. And so far that is still working good, just to use it as basically my miracle morning tracker. So I just list out the items that are what I like to include in my miracle morning. And if nothing else, it's just a reminder to me, or a visual cue to me, when I have kind of, fallen off on doing something for multiple days in a row. Then this is a good reminder. Okay, it really is time to get back into doing X, Y, or Z, whatever it is. And then my simple April gratitude spread. I like this way of doing the gratitude spread, where I just write a couple lines each day. And again, just some of the boho berry stickers to decorate, which I may color later on. And then we go into my first week. And I did forget to mention that I have the Post-it tabs, and I just use my label maker. Like for the numbers, I just cut it into thirds and trim off the corners and use my label maker for that. And then I think I ended up using some of the colored tabs, because then I only had to trim the corner for the month, at least for the month of April and May. Well, in June too, because these are all shorter months. When it's a longer month, then this is what I have to use. But anyway, I looked into getting, I looked on Amazon and Etsy, and there's all kinds of pre-printed versions of tabs. And I just found none of them were meeting all the criteria. I really like that these are repositionable, so I can get them how I want them and move them around until they're just so. I like that I can make them really short, because I can choose the font on my label maker so they don't stick out too far. And they're durable. They're this heavy plastic, and especially with the label stuck to it as well, it's even heavier. So I just decided to go back and make my own again for this month, because it's been working and it keeps working. And why, what did I say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's what I did. So yeah, so then I go into my weekly spreads. This is still working well where I have the days listed on the left. So the date is at the top, the day of the week is in the middle, and this bottom number is my personal day number, again, corresponding with that Louise Hay book. And that just kind of gives me a quick idea of an affirmation for the day and what color to wear and just sort of the general feel for the day. And this whole spread is working as well, so I'm going to keep that up. You might remember in my other notebook here that I have a birthday card from my dad that I just use as a flip out. So then as I'm planning, I can just flip that open and have my list of things I want to put in, and those go here. So the daily and the weekly items correspond to these two lists. And so I do need to either move that card into this book or find another card I want to use, but I like having that little, it's just kind of a little memento and a nice reminder every time I get that out to plan the week. And these are all pretty self-explanatory. Bills that are due that week or close to when I need to get them paid, any tasks that I want to get done that week. And this is helpful for things that are not day specific, or if it's several weeks out and I just want to remember I have to get that done the third week of the month or whatever, I can put it there. And I've also been using it for my zone items. Sometimes I'll have to go into a separate video for my zone cleaning with the Fly Lady, but essentially there's usually a couple of tasks each week that correspond to the zone, including like over here in my weekly list, I always have dust the zone, and then I have zone clean here. So if nothing else, it just reminds me that a couple days a week to try and get a little bit of zone cleaning done. I may get out my control journal and actually look at the list, but typically I just sort of look at what needs to be done, what's jumping out at me or what I've been thinking about that I know I want to get done. And then obviously errands that I need to run when I'm doing my errand day. I don't live that close to town. I mean, it's not that far, but it's a 20-minute drive to a major shopping area. So I tend to do several errands at once on one day, so that helps to have that. And then my contacts list are just people I need to reach out to by phone, email, text, whatever it may be. A lot of times there's one or two notes on here that are just talk to my husband about something, but because he's working overtime and our schedules are busy, I have to really remind myself to ask him about something or to talk to him about something, because all of a sudden another week will go by and we haven't talked about it. So so that's my weekly layout. And then I just go into my daily pages. And so each page I write in just a quick heading of the day, the date, and the personal number that corresponds to it. And I've mentioned this before, it really helps me just to have all these here, because as things pop up, I get the school schedule, I get things from work, whatever, I can just flip right to where I need to be and make sure I write it down and I don't forget it. In the end, I'm always trying to streamline how many times I'm transferring and duplicating something. Now, if it's a task that I'm procrastinating on, I'll make sure to rewrite it day after day after day, because that's part of the process of getting me to just do it. And then I also have kept up with my weekly reviews. So the last day or the last page of each week, daily spreads, I do this quick review. Sometimes it's bullet points, sometimes it's kind of a long journal form, but it's just nice to look backward and kind of recap, look forward and see what do I want to do better for the next week. That just goes through. So I have each of my weeks marked, and I put in the zones for the cleaning, and then I have my monthly review, and that is taken from Alexis on YouTube. Her channel is Miss Trenchcoat, and she has a whole process in her planner that is mostly what I've got here, but more. She has a lot more to it, but I just kind of pulled out the things that worked for me, and it has been working so far. It's funny, I have yet to use this brain dump section, but it's only half a page, and I just figure at some point maybe I'll need it, so I keep putting that in. But I've done this system for, I guess, 2 or 3 months now. I think I started in December, so yeah, January, February. I haven't done March yet, but it's been good. It's just a nice way to, again, look backward and kind of review where you've been, review what didn't go as you had hoped and what you could do better, and then start planning and setting up for the next month. And I do like having all these listed out, because seems like I get distracted or I get interrupted and I forget what I've done or where I left off, so it's nice to have that to remind me. Now, for May, I laid out this monthly page overall because I wanted to have this important dates section to be able to start jotting down, you know, birthdays, events coming up, all of that. But I have not laid the weekly or daily pages out yet. I did go through and just mark the weekly pages. I kind of counted ahead and marked them just to make sure I was leaving enough pages. And then I thought, well, I've already got them marked. I'll just leave them marked until I go through and actually plan and put on my heavier labels. And then I also laid out June. And again, it's the same reasoning. I just wanted to be able to have the important dates page so I can start jotting things in. And that way, you know, it's just one less thing you have to transfer. So I know that's not how Writer Carol says to do it, and I'm sort of breaking all the bullet journal rules, but really he just says make it work for you and do what works for you. So there's no problem in my mind doing that, but it just may not be how you're doing your bullet journal. Okay, so the daily pages, I'm not sure if I remembered to mention this, but what I normally do is I'll just put a quick heading here with my gray Tombow and the 05 mono pen that'll say, the left-hand side will say my day, the right-hand side will say my tasks, no, to do. I do it all the time and I forgot. So yes, this will say my day, this will say my tasks, and then I use that about the upper third to just list out either any appointments or time-sensitive things on the left, and then any tasks that I need to do on the right. And I also will put in, you know, errands, contacts that I need to make, that sort of thing, but it's just pretty much anything I want to make sure I get done on that day. And then once the day is finished, I will draw another header here that says notes, and the rest of the page I will use for either bullet style notes or journaling, or I'll just use it as, like, you know, handwritten journaling. But I like having that. It's nice to have just that little moment at the end of each day to sort of wrap up and review and put down any thoughts I have. And then by having each day laid out, as I mentioned, if I come up with certain tasks that I need to make sure I do or an appointment, then I can easily just turn and jot those down on each day that applies. So that is how that works. Yeah, so that is my current setup for April. I hope that gave you some ideas or inspiration. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments or things that you're curious about. I did post a video not too long ago about how I use the colors and numbers system from that book, so I will link that down below, as well as linking all the supplies I use that you might be curious about. And that is my April spread. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great one, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.